Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So what I'm going to cover today is Safariland QLS system. Now this system's been out for a while. It's not anything new. But recently I think I ran up to maybe 3 or 4 battle belts. Those battle belts I used to use for my shooting. So if you watch my channel, you know it's not just about making knives. I do a lot of tactical shoots. I work with LE guys, I work with military guys, federal agents, you name it, I work with them, alright? And that's part of the gig. So I wound up using different battle belts, one for shotgun, one for AR, one for pistol, and I wound up with all this stuff, and I just wanted to consolidate. So Safariland comes out with this product called QLS. What it does is it allows you to attach plates to your platform and to use multiple holster systems. Now, very basically, very simply, this is the model 22 and this is the model 19, and that's just the clips. That's what I'm talking about. So this is the female end over here, this is the male end, and all you do is just find where the holes connect, slip it in, and you're good to go. Now, I don't work for Safariland. I had to purchase all this gear myself, so understand this comes at quite a bit of an expense because Safariland holsters are not cheap. Now, like I said, the QLS system has been around for a while. Like I said, maybe about a year or so. I think it came out in 2016 or 2017, not really sure, around there. But for me, I finally gotten on board with it because what I was doing is I was purchasing holsters for my firearms, whatever they may be, and sometimes I wanted to put a light on it. Alright, well, if I had to put a light on it, that would mean that I'd have to buy a new holster because I only had one that did not have a light on it. Okay, something like that. And then I said, alright, well, I'll put this on there. So now I have one, this is without a light, this is with a light, depending on what training I was doing that day. Full disclosure, guys, all the stuff that you see here I'm going to put on the links down below. It is from Amazon. That's where I primarily purchase most of my stuff, from Amazon. I'm an Amazon affiliate or quote-unquote influencer, so if you purchase something from my store, I think I get 0.52 pennies. Okay, so help support the channel. Alternately, you can look on the links below, and you could also check out my awesome homemade knives. I make them all here in the USA, and just check out all the great stuff I have up there. Really help support the channel and my family, and really appreciate that. So back to the good stuff. Alright, so Safariland you can buy in a set. The QLS set comes in something that looks like this. It's just a regular box. It has quite a few extra goodies in there. So you'll have this Allen key wrench. I don't know what size this is, but it is the same basic size for every single screw in every one of Safariland's holster. Okay, so if you can see the screws that are on this holster right here, it'll fit this, it'll fit the actual construction of the holster, it will fit the back of it. Okay, so it fits every single one, so you only need one wrench. And thank you very much for that, Safariland. I really appreciate it. Comes with a set of directions, shows you how to take apart your holsters, all the kit, all the gear that it's supposed to come with, and how to attach it to certain fixtures. Now the fixtures that we're going to talk about, very simple. This happens to be the belt loop mounting fixture, I guess you can call it, and then they have the tactical leg shroud, and then they also have the paddle. Now I don't necessarily run the paddle, but some people do. This happens to be the paddle right here. This is what you would buy from an Amazon store without the QLS system set up. So all you're doing is you're buying those pieces, unscrewing this, putting that model 19 or whatever, you know, what the bracket 19 on here, taking this off, and then you could slip all your holsters onto it. You could also do that with the leg shroud. Everything corresponds to this 3-point system. As you can see in the back, 3-point system, 1, 2, 3. You can see back here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, they're all spaced evenly, and the reason that is so it makes it a very modular system. Now there are other systems other than the belt mount, the paddle, and the leg shroud. Okay, They do have something called the MLS. The MLS is for a MOLLE system. So if you are a soldier, you want to hook it up to your MOLLE, they do sell these clips specifically for MOLLE. Excuse me. Also, if you wanted magazines, this happens to run a Kiwi. I'm running a Kiwi on this. Really good product. What I like about this, obviously, is it'll fit different magazines. You know, ARs, that type of thing, Mini 14s, Glock mags, Sig mags, whatever the case, it'll fit in these. But if you wanted something more specific, what you can do is they have a system called ELS. ELS is for equipment locking system, and all they really did was they took this big one and they made it big Model 22, and they made it smaller, okay? And what that does is you can clip it on the side of your belt. I think this is a 1 3/4 or a 1.5 inch belt, so it'll slip on sort of like this, has a clip system in the back, and then what you can do is you can either clip magazines on there, or if you want to take that magazine off your belt and then put it onto your tack vest, you can do that as well. You could also put flashlights in there, that kind of thing. So it gives it a lot of modularity. It gives you the ability to take stuff off your belt, put it onto your kit, that kind of thing. Now, a lot of people would say, well, if I'm only running one gun, why do I need this? Okay, so let's say you work for Department of Corrections. Let's say you are a police officer. You're running your Glock 19. This happens to be a Glock 19, and this is a level 3 retention holster. So if you notice that a couple things are missing, I took all the retention system off other than the level 1 or level 2 thumb release. All right, that was me. That was not Safariland. You'll see a couple of the holsters did that, mostly for because I had the holsters and I didn't want to. You can't sell them used. Well, you can, I guess, on eBay, but I just didn't want all that retention. All right, it just wasn't for me. So I just took all the parts off, and the holster works fine. It runs fine. There's no problems with it, other than these protruding screw holes. And of course, if I wanted to, I could put all the retention back, screw everything together, and put it together, and it's no big deal. It works. But again, I digress. That's just me. So again, if I was working for Department of Corrections, police officer, and I had to go into the cells, or with the prisoners, they're not going to allow you to go in there with a firearm. So instead of taking my firearm out and handing it to somebody, you can take the whole holster off with the firearm inserted, hand it to whoever's putting your firearm away. They'll put the firearm away, and when you're done, they take it out and hand you a holster. Again, never having to take the pistol out itself. Also, if you're doing vehicle operations, let's say you're high speed, low drag kind of guy, you have your holster here at your hip. You get into a vehicle, it's a little bit difficult to get to. You take it out of here, you put it onto your MOLLE, your NLS, and you can clip it onto your vest. So now you have retention here. We're up close where you need it, as opposed to having down by your side and the door jamb gets in the way, that kind of thing. So a lot of different options with that. I think it's a really great product. Like I said, there's the MLS, which is the MOLLE system, the QLS, which is the system you see here, and also the ELS, which is the little equipment magazine pouches and that kind of stuff. I tend to like my system low. So this is the low ride system, all right, on the belt loop. There are 2 different versions. This is the mid ride, this is the low ride, and I just want to give you a representation. So if this is your duty belt, understand that the length of which the holster is going to sit is going to be lower, whereas this one's going to be a little bit higher. Some departments may have regulations as to what you can and cannot use, but for me, what I like is it lower, because if I have body armor on, especially plates, I want the gun to sit lower. That's the whole reason for the leg shroud. So if you wear it on your thigh or a thigh rig, it's a lot easier to use than to have it up by your side. Also, again, if you wanted to run a paddle, you could run the system off a paddle. So you would take the 3 screws out, you would put the I think the Model 22, it comes in a set, and then what you can do is set it all up with a paddle, and then this way if you had different firearms, or again that other scenario where you needed to take it off and put it somewhere else, you could do that as well. Again, to each his own. Now what I had done is I bought one set with the number 22 and the number 19, and I just added it to different holsters that I run. Alright, this happens to be, I think this is the this is the P226 with a light and a rail. This is the Glock 17, but I modified the inside of this holster. I took this block out and used a block for the 19, so I could use 19 or 17 with a rail and a light. Again, I'm not suggesting you do that because that probably voids the warranty. And this happens to be a Glock 19 with the optics mount on it. Again, this holster was built specifically for that with no other retention other than the thumb release. You can see that right there. Okay. If I had the choice, I would buy all the holsters like this. I think they call this the Model DO. And what this does, this little shroud in here protects the optic. Alright, so you cannot use these holsters with an optic, but this one you can. So again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially endless amount as long as I purchase a Safariland and purchased one of the 19 bracket. Okay, if I keep putting that bracket in, again, every bracket that you get comes with a bunch of screws. You detach this from here, or whatever it came with, you detach it, take all the screws out, put this bracket in, and now you're good to go. Alright guys, so just to end this up, I just want to show you a little bit more of what I've done. As far as efficiency, like I said, I used a QLS system. Some people say this system may have a tend to ride. It does stick out a little bit more than it would normally. Again, to each his own, it doesn't really bother me. If you permanently attach this to here, it kind of defeats the purpose, because now if I wanted to run optics, I can just snap this in, or I would have to unfeed this through this whole belt and do that kind of setup. You know, very simple belt. I just have a few things on here. I'm not trying to overburden it. Tourniquet, flashlight. I think this is Surefire. Yeah, that's my Surefire quick flashlight, so when I do night operations. And then I have my Kiwis. Alright, very, very simple, lightweight belt. The belt is actually made for competition use, but again, I see more and more law enforcement agencies using this. So you have an inner belt and an outer belt. The inner belt goes around to hold your pants, and then you put it to connect it to your outer belt or battle belt. Now, like I said in the past, I had three or four different battle belts specifically set up with a specific gun, and it just became too much. So if you're like me and you want a little bit more modularity, a little bit easier to set something up, then please check out the QLS system. Go to Three River Blades, guys. Check out all the stuff I have up there. Check out all the links. I'll put all the links down below. And as always, guys, stay safe out there. Thanks.